Hey y'all, I'm in the garden and I am going to be making a few cuts for our first event, which is tomorrow. We're going to be taking the vintage camper to a local brewery and selling some bouquets there. I just wanted to hop on for the sake of documenting and maybe looking back and seeing what was what this time of year. It is early April and I'm gonna show you guys the garden, but as you can see, I do not have a whole lot in bloom, and as much as that makes me nervous, I want to proceed and just sort of stick with the plan. Alrighty, I'm gonna go ahead and put my gloves on and cut what I've got. I'm going to grab the bucket, another bucket for our daffodils, and I'll grab the daffodils out of the spare fridge and just show you guys what I've collected over the last week or so, and fingers crossed they open. All right, so wash my hands. I'm trying to avoid breaking out again from these daffodils, but I feel like it's probably gonna happen because I'm gonna touch the gloves or cut something. So let's go. I'm cutting today a day before so that I can make sure everything is properly hydrated, and the stems that aren't going to properly hydrate, they will or should be wilted and gone by tomorrow, so I can pull those out and then we can arrange with what's left. Alrighty, you guys, this is what I had stashed away, so let's see. All right, here's what I've got so far for flowers tomorrow. I've got daffodils hydrating in this bucket. I've got some irises right here. I have not held these and tried opening them later, so we'll see how those go. I've got some phlox, a few stems of stock, some bells of Ireland, and I'm gonna hold off on cutting the bupleurum because I don't think that it's as open as it should be. I'm going to grab some of that hyssop greenery instead. All right, so here's the hyssop stems, and I'm just gonna add it to this bucket. I probably should strip it first, so let me go ahead and do that. Alrighty, you guys, here's what I'm working with for my first set of bouquets. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this stuff inside. It's not hot, but the sun is starting to take over this area and I don't want this stuff sitting in direct sunlight. So we'll check in the morning. All right, I forgot to turn the camera back on this morning, but we are at the brewery and I've got the boys. Kevin's here with us. We are just waiting on my sister and her husband to get here, and I will show you guys what the flowers opened up to look like. Some of them, most of them opened up just fine. We have some that are still just a little bit closed, but that's okay. They'll continue to open over the vase life of the bouquets. And they're here. All right, so here are the daffodils we picked yesterday. We've got a couple bachelor button, bells, phlox, all of that. Y'all, there's a ton of hay in the back of my truck always because sheep. But I'm super excited, so this is what we're working with today for our first event. All right, y'all, we're parked. Thanks to Epi. Hey y'all, it's a couple days later. It's actually like 3 or 4 days later. I realized I never finished this video from our first pop-up event. So I wanted to talk a little bit about how our first event went, some of our plans moving forward, and just show you guys the garden because it's a really nice day out. And yeah, that'll be the end of this video. So we started with our pop-up mobile bouquet bar, and we are going to be at a local brewery once a week for the next month or two tentatively. And as far as setup and us being prepared, I say we did okay. We really think that we need a little bit of presence outside of the camper, so we're thinking about maybe setting up some pre-made bouquets outside of the camper and then inviting people in to participate in the bouquet bar. This first event we just did pre-made bouquets. As far as sales go, we did not do well, and yeah, I mean, that's just part of it. It was a little bit disappointing, but I think it's important to remember that that we have to start somewhere, and we can sort of take each setup and each visit and assess what is working and what is not working. If our ideal customer is at this venue, or it's quite possible that our ideal customer is not at this place. So that's something that's going to take a little bit of time and analysis to see how things play out. It could be the day of week, it could be the time. So we'll see how that plays out over the next few months. But I do feel really good about what we are going to be able to bring to the table and share with everyone. So that's sort of a summation of how our first event went. The daffodils opened up beautifully. Storing those for the first time was successful, so that was nice. And we were able to bring some of those bouquets back home and stock the farm stand with them. So we did make some sales. It just wasn't at our first pop-up event. Right now we're preparing for our first farmers market event that is this weekend, and we're excited. We're looking forward to it. There may be a chance of rain, but the market is rain or shine. If you are local and you're planning to come out, we will be there. So now I'm just going to sort of take you guys around and show you what's going on the farm. All right, some of the things that are in bloom right now, I'm not going to go over everything, but we do have some bupleurum starting to open up. We've got just a handful of stock that's been blooming, and we've been using those in bouquets. This is a one and done, so only one cut off of those. And then I do have some rose forget-me-not that's starting to bloom, so I've been adding those in. Our bachelor button is blooming. Such a really, really pretty color. Blue. Let's see if I can get out of the light. And this is a mix, so we've got blues, pinks, purples, and this is just the first little succession of that. All right, our sunflowers are looking really nice. I think I've mentioned before, this is our first year putting a lot of things in ground. Typically we just stick to our raised beds, but this is the first succession of sunflowers. So there's sort of a step down effect as we come further down to these more recent successions. You can see how that first succession is a little bit taller, second succession, and then right here we have the third succession. And we've got a couple more successions of sunflowers going in that back corner over there. Oops. In that back corner over there. The dahlias are putting on a lot of new growth. This is a pretty small patch, but we do have some in our raised beds as well. So we've got dahlias, bupleurum. This is one of the last successions. Got some euphorbia. And then this right here is our first in-ground succession of sunflowers. And then more sunflower successions as we make our way down this row. And let's see what else. Our first planting of gomphrena. All right, here's the cosmos. They've been pinched to encourage some branching. I left a couple just to see how much sooner the ones that were not pinched put on blooms. But I think these are afternoon white cosmos. We've got some apricota, some cupcake blush, and this right here is just the first succession. And I actually sowed our second succession yesterday, so those will go in just a couple of weeks. This patch of Rudbeckia, Black-Eyed Susan, is starting to fill out, which is good because I really am hoping that because I sort of intensively planted these close together, that foliage can sort of act as a mulch and retain a little bit of moisture and keep grass from taking over this patch. So those are filling in really well and definitely looking forward to those blooms. I actually may have to come in and thin some of those out, but we'll see. Show you guys are the rows we put in the middle. And we figured since this space was sort of front and center, we would put something here that actually needed to open and flower completely. And so what we're doing is we're coming through and adding successions of zinnias. So here are the first couple groups, and I will come back in probably about 3 or 4 weeks. So another succession, and then another 3 or 4 weeks, sow some more. And as these plants that we sowed initially finish up, we'll rip those out and pop some new ones in. So this is going to be a bed of zinnias, unless I run out of space and end up sticking something else in here. Ranunculus, which I think is gorgeous, but I don't have great luck with outdoors here, so those are going to pop up here and there. But I will have to continue perfecting the skill of growing these because I don't have it yet. All right, this is our bed that has some arugula going to seed here in the front. I haven't pulled this yet because I'm saving it just sort of as a demonstration for our upcoming gardening class. I've also got some cilantro going to seed here, and I've been cutting some of that cilantro and using it as foliage and filler, so that's been nice. And once I'm done using this bed as sort of a demo in our gardening class, all of that will come out, and probably be planting some peppers in this bed. All right, this is another one of our in-ground beds, and this is Coreopsis. I think that's how it's pronounced. I started this from seed in the winter, and I'm hoping this will reseed and perennialize right here. And a little bit further down, I've got some tomatoes in the ground already. And I came through, we had a storm, well, not really a storm, a couple days worth of rain. So this wool has been a little misplaced, but I came through and I mulched with some of the wool from our sheep shearings. We've got bags and bags of wool, so I'm just going to be mulching with that here and there. So here I've got a little set of black crim tomatoes. A little further down, I'll plant flowers right here in the middle. A little further down, I've got a patch of Amish paste. Sorry guys, Meredith is noisy today. Yes, I see you. Got Amish paste tomatoes down right there, and then blank space in the middle. And down here I've got some German green and some shishito peppers, jalapeno peppers, chocolate bells. These have been in the ground. It's a little bit early, but I just wanted to see how they would do. We've still been getting nights in the 40s, but no frost, and so far so good. Let's see. Yeah, these are all German green. All right, some of our first successions of snapdragons are just starting to bloom. This might be Costa apricot, maybe. I have to look back, I can't remember. This is before I realized that I really need to be planting these by like hundreds, couple hundreds, instead of, oh, a handful there, sprinkle here. But we figured it out. Here's our cress, which is coming into maturity. These seed pods are maturing, but I actually picked some of this last week ahead of the seed pods maturing, and it hydrated and held up really well in the bouquets, so that was nice. Here's a look at the meat birds. They were starting to get themselves into trouble in the garden, so I had to remove them. Of course, they found every weakness in our fencing. That's all right, we'll figure it out. They're only here for about another month or so. And at this point, they're free ranging all over. I set up a little pen for them in the corner, and I thought that they were hopping on top of that field wire and flying in through the fence, so that's why I've got that frost fabric draped up there. I was trying to keep them out, but they were actually getting in underneath the garden gate. I put a hog panel in front of that, and hopefully that'll solve the problem. And I'll just sort of hop over for now. All right, we had several people ask about the lambs, so I'm going to show you what our lambs are looking like right now. I'm sure you can hear Meredith. Pretty soon we're going to be, let's see if I can get a little closer. Pretty soon we're going to be focusing on weaning Maggie's lambs. They're almost 2 weeks old, and we're gonna start our milking. They're actually already on pellets and hay. Here's Slim Jim. We ended up naming these other two Sunday and Slim Jim. Slim Jim is our ram, and he'll be feeding our family eventually. And Sunday, our little ewe over there, we'll add her to our flock of milkers. This is Violet.
And then
Okay. Guess they were settling a dispute. But yeah, I was saying our ewes came to us with their tails banded, and it's something that our mentor recommends for our dairy sheep. And so for now, we are just following that advice. We're gonna be first-time milkers, so we'll see how that goes. Archie, you having a good day? Yeah? Yeah. I think they're taking off someplace new now. I think they're taking off to someplace new. The other side where the grass is green and higher. Slim Jim, he got sidetracked. He's still munching. You guys want to check out the house? Still working. Work in progress. Following the sheep over. So we're actually discussing our plans to make another pen and till up some of this dirt, moon sand, moon rock that we've got out here, put a few of these sheep on it to add some organic matter, and yeah, make a choice about what it is we want to do. Show you guys what we're talking about. So over near the garden is pretty green, but all of this right here has been so disturbed that it's gonna need to be brought back to life. We've got little pockets of green where the water tends to puddle and pool and sit, but we're really gonna be working on being intentional about getting our animals in specific spaces to sort of bring this back to life. And what we'll probably do is create a combination of pasture and space for us to expand our gardens and planting more flowers, honestly. So we could go with raised beds on top of this right now, and grass wouldn't be much of an issue. We would just have to bring all of that dirt in. So we need the grass for the sheep. We need the grass to cover this bare earth and bring it back to life. So yeah, we've got lots of things to consider when we think about how we want to steward this land and the space that we have here.
Hello everybody, this is the end of this video.
We'll see you guys soon. Bye.